What is up? I got myself some great ass lighting. I'm really proud of this. I've got the mic on. Let's go. So, welcome to a very different video for me. So, the reason I am about to confess something that is quite embarrassing is because I think there's power in it, and I hope someone can relate to this. Well, I know I'm not alone, you know? So, this video, as you can see in the title, is about being a millennial in quite a bit of debt. I got myself into a place of debt a little more than the average person at 25. I would say a lot more than the average person at 25, and that's why I want to walk you through it and how I went from thinking my life was absolutely ruined and over to getting out and seeing the light and realizing there is a way to rebound in life and bring yourself back to life. So let's do this.
Sometimes we're faking, but we'll get one step closer, reaching every day. We'll figure it out on the way.
My first level of debt started when I got my first credit card. I was very smart with it for the first few months. I would say for the first few years until I got into college. The reason I started a credit card so early is because everyone, the media, the whole world was saying, start your credit earlier so you can have better credit when you get into your mid-20s like I am. Turns out I didn't really go that route. So I started my first credit card. It was a secured credit card in high school. Used it very seldomly. I was on it, staying to it. I had 2 jobs in high school, so I had some money flow coming in. I think the second my debt started building and me being blind to my debt building was the second I stepped into college. I got a job very soon into college. I became an RA. That was incredible. I had such a good time, but being an RA, they brought you a lot of benefits. One of those benefits was not getting a solid paycheck. We got paid monthly, and it was a stipend that was so low that I couldn't pay off a credit card payment even if I wanted to. I had this entire mentality the entire time I was spending on credit cards that there would be a day when I'd make enough money to pay it off very easily. I carried that mentality for a few years. That is the kryptonite that I drink every day that ruined me and put me in the very sticky situation I am in now. And that I've actually researched is considered a money disorder, and little did I know at the time I was definitely dealing with a money disorder. My mental state at the time was a joke. I was buying what I wanted to at a rate that I wanted to, which if you give any young 20-year-old a credit card and say, live it up, mamacita, I think they're gonna be swiping left and right daily. I was off at college. I had a free dining plan because I was an RA, and I was spending on my credit card buying Starbucks and Dunkin', and I was going out having meals on Friday nights. I was going to movies, I was going to concerts, I was going on trips. I was buying clothes. It was all of these things I was doing. I was just accruing debt the whole time because my mental state thought, no worries, sis, I'll pay this off when I get to a ripe age of young 20s right out of college. And I kept accruing debt. I actually got another credit card and then another credit card. Thought I was getting rewards on a credit card and was super excited because I was getting Sky Miles on another credit card. Turns out all of it was debt. None of these were rewards. Got myself directly into a great salary job right out of college. I became an accountant right off the bat with a salary that was pretty damn good in my opinion, and I was paying on my credit cards. I was living with my mom at the time for a small period of time, so I was like, no worries, this is exactly what I thought would happen. I can pay off my credit cards and do it to it. God, nothing was fazing me about my debt. Little did I know, I had just gotten a car, rent that was coming up. I had credit card debt and I had a little bit in student loans. My expenses were out the wazoo. And I thought my salary was going to maintain this so well. I wasn't paying it off at the end of each month. And I know tears are coming to your eyes for me, and they probably should. A lesson I know now, and a lesson I actually knew then, but I was young, dumb, and free. I was very unhappy in accounting. Money and spending did not make me a happy boy, which should be an obvious. I left accounting and then I went into a job in the food industry, and I didn't make nearly as much money as I was making in accounting, and that was what derailed this trip real quick, but Jake was still dumb and he didn't realize it for quite some time. So when I was in accounting, I was able to save up quite a bit of money, and my savings was like my safety net. I still think that way. I think everybody should have a savings, a base level. I had a good base level when I left accounting. I thought I was gonna be good, Gucci Tucci. I thought I was gonna get another job that was going to help me pay off these credit card bills. So here I was still living in this mentality of my future will pay off the debt I'm accruing right now. This is where I think a lot of millennials are getting into the mindset. And what I'm trying to say is that this mindset is super dangerous. And this is a mindset that is supported by creditors, supported by whatever debt building avenues are out there, whether it's a personal loan, whether it's getting a fancy car with just 0 down payment, just these monthly expenses. These are feeding millennials this idea of you can pay this off in the future. But the joke's on you. You don't know where the hell you'll be in the future. What? Did I not know that? I didn't know that, and I was dumb. Left college. Now we're back at it, right? Left college, got into accounting, was starting to chip away at my credit card bills. Pretty proud. Left accounting because I was very unhappy. Now we're back to square one, where I am in the same situation I was in college, where I was paying a little over my monthly rate for the credit card payments, and I'm telling you, my interest rate and my credit card payments were going up every single month. And this took about 2 years for me to sit with it and be like, my savings is slowly going like this because my monthly income cannot in any way support my expenses. This is something I was not gathering up here. Why wasn't I? I don't know. Why did I not wake up at the time? I don't know. But the moment I woke up was about 1.5 years into the food industry. My savings was depleted by nearly 85%. And I was on another trip. It was a trip to Denver. Never regret any of my trips, by the way. But I shouldn't have been taking them. Did they add so much value to my life? Hell yeah. Was I in an experience-based market? Yes. Economic term. What's up? I spent way too much money. I loved going on trips. I loved being with my mamacitas in any way, shape, or form. I loved taking off work in order to be with my mamacitas, so that was a little dangerous. That in the food industry, if you're not working, you're not making money. What I had was a money disorder, and the specific term for the money disorder I had was called money avoidance. This is when you do not want to look at your financial statements, you don't want to look at receipts, you don't want to open the banking app on your phone to see how much money you've spent, how much money is no longer in your account. And this was pure negligence for me. And I let it go. You know, I, in some ways, was smart enough to build a safety net of a savings, but as you can see, I completely depleted it. I was avoiding the fact I wasn't making nearly as much money. I wasn't doing the proper math, the proper accounting of my own expenses to realize I could not afford the life I was living. And that's exactly what I was doing. In no way, shape, or form could I afford nearly the life that I was living. Spending on my credit card every day. There was a point I was going to Starbucks every damn day. Every day. That expense adds up so quickly. I look at people now who go to Starbucks and I'm like, let's pray you got some coin. And I'm excited for the day when I get coin and I can go to Starbucks every day, maybe. Maybe there'll be a day where I have coin where I can't afford the life that I was living, right? I realized when I was paying 2 of my credit card bills in the same day that my savings hit such a low in my eyes. I had never seen it before, and I never thought I'd get to that point where my savings was that depleted. The level of stress that came over me was the darkest cloud I've ever seen. And when financial fear has you completely paralyzed in your emotions and you can't barely breathe, I completely broke down and was crippled by my emotions in that moment. And it was the most motivating switch to finally figure out how to get under control my financial situation. To put it simply, I was in so much debt, and what I was doing was finally waking the up and realizing the life you have might not be there in the next month or two because of how reckless you are being with money. What I'm trying to relay to you is I thought for a minute that there was no way to get my debt under control. Immediately my mind went to, there's a way out, there's a way out. Let me just cut off my credit cards as we speak right now, and then I can pay it off, blah, blah, blah. It turns out, doing the math, I wouldn't have been able to pay off my credit cards with the money I was making currently for 80 something years. For the interest building, for the predatory lending that these creditors are giving millennials, people my age, even if I broke everything down to the most simple form, I was not able to afford anything in my life. Let's let that sink in for a second. Was I telling anybody about the debt that I was in? No. I think I was wildly ashamed. And one very nervous day, I reached out to my father, who has quite a lot of knowledge of finance and creditors and lending and all of this jazz, and he helped save my life. I don't know how to give him any more credit for helping me get back on my feet financially. He didn't give me any money whatsoever, but he helped point me in the right direction. I was reaching out to nonprofit associations, credit unions. None of them were able to help, nor did any of them want to take on the risk that I was presenting myself as. Yeah. There was a NCAA-backed organization that decided to help me manage my debt. It was called technically a debt management program. We were weighing the options of bankruptcy and a debt management plan, just to put you in perspective of how bad of a situation I was in. We came to the conclusion that a debt management program was the best thing I should do for myself to save any backbone I had in my credit score. My credit score wasn't bad, don't get me wrong. I was making payments. I was also just making my creditors just happier and happier because they were making so much money off of the interest of Jake Jones. So I got myself into a debt management plan. That is where this story ends, but I want to give some overall message to this. First of all, you are not alone if you have ever really gotten into a fearful financial situation. I literally thought I was going to have to flip my life upside down. I thought I was going to have to call my mom and say, hey, mama, I need to move back in with you. Thought I was not going to be able to take care of my dog anymore. Thought I was going to need to sell off my car. So yes, you are not alone in a fearful financial situation. I also want other millennials like myself to understand that these creditors out there that are trying to get debt into our hands in such an easy way, they are predatory lenders. I really had to learn that, and I had to realize that I ate that shit up. Watch out for this predatory lending, and please, please, please do yourself a favor and do not buy something that you do not have the money for. Unless it's a wild investment into your future, do not spend the money that you do not have. Investing in your education, that's a different story. Going into debt to do that. Going into debt in order to buy a home, that's a different situation because these are all investments, right? With that being said, even though there's help out there, it doesn't make your situation disappear, right? I'm still paying so much each month and a fixed rate that's very manageable in order to pay off my debt. That is so much easier to live with, let me tell you. Jake had to learn some tools. Jake had to learn to make coffee from home. That's like the number one example I want to give you, is I was spending money on coffee every day. We had a coffee maker the whole time in my kitchen. I'm telling you, Jake had to learn some shit. And I had to learn. I haven't bought a new piece of clothing in 6 months. My recent Disney trip, I saved up a month and a half in order to go on that Disney trip. Little do you all know, I have incredible friends that work at Disney that helped pave that entire way, cost-free. So it's the little things, right? Like finding out I don't have any more credit cards. No one would want me to have a credit card right now. I don't want to have a credit card right now. But the idea is my mentality about money, my mentality about finance has completely changed. The reason I wanted to share this story is because you are not alone with any wake-up call that you may need in life. Turns out everyone makes mistakes and everybody has those days. So to round off this entire narrative and this entire message, I am a millennial. I'm in a shitload of debt because society made me think I had to get a shitload of debt in order to be able to live and get into adulthood. Turns out you don't need to do that. You don't need to live your life that way. If you guys have any questions, if you guys are in a similar situation, maybe due to school or car, or if you get stressed out because of money, please let me know. I wish I had somebody like this in order to tell me and wake me up, especially somebody my age, because sometimes we can hear it from somebody older and we're like, you're crazy, Kevin, crazy. But I'm 25. I'm living the young, wild, and free life. And so yeah, you're not alone. I love you.